Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Professor Stokes.
Hey, how are you?
Absolutely wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing good. You all dressed up at the house?
Yeah, and ain't got no place and don't want to go no place. How about that?
Girl,
So can you turn your camera so that it's horizontal?
Landscape?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, look at you, got your picture all up. Ooh,
Ain't nobody study you.
You're doing it all, girl. You's a moving star.
Child, listen, trying to work it all out.
I do understand. Trust me, I do.
Ooh.
I
Honey,
do.
and trying to give a different look everywhere, it's just.
I know. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's quite a lot. Well,
yeah,
good.
it is. It is.
Okay, so tilt your camera so that I can see more of your face because I'm
okay.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my arms hurt.
Why?
Trying to lift some weights.
Girl, I understand. Trust me.
Is that good or you need more?
A little higher.
No.
Yep, I've been on it with my little girl. We do Instagram exercise 3 times a week. Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay. How many times?
3, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So gotta stay, we in it to win it.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and do the Gospel Today interview part now. If you want to, we can do a portion by yourself and then do Ernest later, or do all of Ernest and you together, whatever you prefer.
He's so crazy.
I know. We'll do part of it with him, definitely, but I didn't know if you wanted to do another segment by yourself. We'll come back to it. Okay. We'll think about it while we do this, and then when we get off, we'll know. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start and I'm going to ask you to answer in complete sentences because I may not be in all the shots.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So here we go. So crazy. Silly. So let's talk about, what was your involvement with Gospel Today magazine?
I was involved with Gospel Today magazine actually from the beginning, just hearing the founders' vision and heart about just wanting to tell our story and how we would lean on others to tell our story or even not share it. And so how she wanted to be very instrumental in telling the story of gospel artists, ministers, people in the community, and things of that nature. And then also hearing her heart about preserving the heritage of gospel music and gospel legends. And so that's how I was initially involved. I've been a part as a contributing writer. I've worked behind the scenes, just kind of navigating. I think I've had to sell it a couple of magazines before. And I've been featured in it as well. And so I've been involved with it for a long time.
When do you first recall seeing Gospel Today or Score magazine, and what were your first impressions?
My first impression, when I first I saw Score. I saw the Score publication, somewhat like a newsletter. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is great, because now our industry has something to read, and hopefully they will read. But because you did such investigative type of study in terms of the lives of different artists, you also were very just informative in telling different things that we really needed to hear, because we've been hearing about their music or about their churches, but the life behind them, their life and their lifestyle is some of the things that Score and Gospel Today brought to the forefront. What gives rise to you writing this song? What are the contributing factors to why you do it the way that you do? What's your passion behind it? And so you were able to kind of bring us into the lives of people, and whereby we, the audience, we could relate to it as the customer base and the readers.
Gospel Today became the top-selling magazine in the urban Christian marketplace. Why do you think Gospel Today was important to the marketplace, or to the music industry, or to pastors and Christian leaders, or to all?
Well, Gospel Today actually positioned gospel music in the marketplace to really be an acceptable genre in the mainstream. And because music is always talked about, is always a part of the universal language, but gospel has pretty much been hidden. And then there's been this perception of, oh, it's just quartet gospel, or gospel music is related to just church choirs. But what Gospel Today did, it put us on the forefront and before people who just love music. So it was in the marketplace so that everybody could gravitate to it, could know about it, could read about it, and it even could share information to others, because it was information in there that we did not readily know. So I think it postured and positioned gospel in such a way that the masses would know all about it. Certainly to ministry and the industry, it began to be this place, this common ground where all could go and trust that our story would be told. And so pastors who were taking trips to Israel, and pastors over here that were doing outreach, community outreach, and this pastor over here that's involved in politics, like the story could be told, because we knew there was a life beyond the pulpit. Pastors and ministries are involved in changing cities and changing communities. And so I think it helped to inspire other leaders. It helped to further expose the mission of the gospel today, the ministry. It helped to expose it, that it's not just in the four walls, as we're seeing today, is not just in the four walls, but it's about you doing more and being diversified in how you do ministry, and realizing that it's not only in the church, but it's also outside of the church. And then to the gospel artists, it turned the industry around, because there was no common place that we could go. Gospel artists were leaning somewhat on the Christian side, and depending and hoping and wishing that the Christian side would say, hey, we exist over here. But we weren't their priority. We weren't the main focus. Their main focus was Christian music, but not gospel music. And so Gospel Today became that medium for gospel artists to showcase their music, to talk about life matters, and even different things that you have features about how to get in the record industry, things about marketing and branding and those types of things. And all of that was so very key, I think, to the industry.
The uniqueness of Gospel Today was that it went beyond gospel's traditional barriers, and it began to embrace sports figures, entertainers, actors, all sorts of topics. What do you think that did in the marketplace? What was the place of Gospel Today in terms of showcasing those kind of people?
You know, I really didn't know how you were going to really be successful at doing it, but I knew that we as the gospel community, we enjoy sports. We enjoy the actors and actresses. And so we're watching television, we're engaged in the media and all of that. And so when you brought it, I just really wasn't sure if the gospel community was going to accept it because they were so used to artists and ministers. But when you brought it, I think it just really expanded their knowledge, view, and perspectives of different artists and these athletes, brought you further into what they're doing, further into their values and their principles that shape what they do and how they do it, their disciplines as it relates to rehearsals, practice, and just kind of brought us into that world of what they do. And I think it was a fair exchange because sometimes in gospel it's like us and them, or the saints and the ain'ts. But I think it helped us to realize that we're all believers, and you don't have to just be in the church. You don't have to just be an artist, but you can be an actor, you can be an athlete, and you can do multiple things. And I think it was just a perfect unity because it reflected the world in which we live.
Nice. So I know you've known Teresa Hairston for years. And what were your first impressions of her? And then how did you think about her as she evolved?
My first impression of Teresa was she can get on your everlasting nerves. She is so persistent, and she's good. She's very organized. And her time management is very good. Those are some of the things that I have actually learned from her because she is very structured, and I've just watched her up close and from a distance, and how you are to be professional in business, and when you commit to doing something, you've got to do it. And a lot of times we as a church world, we won't admit it. We were just not good with organizational skills. And also we needed development when it came to leadership and then time management. And I think in the church world, leadership was more about you being in front of people and telling people what to do. It was more so your leadership style. Being dogmatic, a dictatorship type of leadership. But it's not just being that. It's about who you are overall. You can expect certain things from the people that you are leading, but what about what you are doing, what you are presenting for you to be an effective leader? And so to me, you've always exemplified great vision, great follow through, very detail oriented, very creative, very respective, great writer. Your thoughts are very well organized. And I think all of those types of things is what I've seen you do, and you have evolved even the more. Also, your interpersonal and intrapersonal skills as you connect with different people of all levels is phenomenal, because not everybody can do that. That takes a skill set to be able to deal with VIP individuals and just the everyday, common man, to deal with an artist that's at the top 5 of the Billboard charts and to deal with an upcoming artist. Your ability to be able to be flexible and adjust and to be able to interact with the different levels of individuals, I think is very good. And then the diversity of races, of genders, and even religions, to be able to have those kinds of conversations with individuals. I remember when you did articles on single men, single women, married couples, dating, and just your ability to just be able to navigate through all those different types of conversations in the print, I think was phenomenal. And so those are some of the things. And another thing too, your perseverance. You never stop, you never quit. And so sometimes I'm like, okay, here we go again. and then when something you determine like doesn't work, or it's just not the timing for it, like you put it over to the side and then you just keep going. It's like you never quit. And I think that is so powerful. In all of these years, you've never quit. I know it hasn't always been easy. I mean, any leader like yourself, and even being a Black woman, it's not the easiest thing to walk in the leadership that you do, but you keep going, and nothing stops you. And I don't know if it is the vision that fuels you. I don't know if it's your faith, or I don't know if it's that that you're a trailblazer to so many other women. I don't know what it is, but I certainly appreciate it and how you model it to so many of us.
Wow, thank you. Do you have any specific memories? I know that you were one of the chosen ones to go on a Gospel Today Holy Land tour. Do you have any special memories of that event?
Yes. I will never forget it. I will never forget it, because I was in a transition, and I was at a record label and doing ministry. And it was almost like when I decided and accepted my full call into ministry, just things with the industry just went the other way. And I could not understand it. And I remember you calling me and say, listen, I want you to go on this trip to the Holy Land. And I was like, listen, I don't feel like dealing with nothing holy right now. I really don't. But it was life-changing for me. And I'll never forget being there. We went to visit the diamond factory. And when we went there, it's just God began to just show me myself, and how that cutting process of the diamond and how it increases your value. And what I thought was just going to be a solemn moment in the Holy Land, it changed my life. It helped me to realize my value in the kingdom. Because a lot of times when you give your life to ministry, I've been saved since I was 13, 14, and I haven't looked back. Like I haven't played church. So for me, I've given my life to ministry. And so for God to bring about a type of disruption in my life, I just could not understand that for the life of me. But I later began to realize how powerful change is, and how change will grow a person. I began to realize how powerful change is, and how change will grow a person. And so I'm so glad for that experience. And then just being around, Dr. Hairston and other co-laborers in the gospel, it was just great. It was phenomenal.
Fantastic. Finally, do you have any other memories or opinions or anything else you'd like to share about Gospel Today or Teresa?
I just remember, the different interns and people that you brought through your company. And these were people who had a desire to do their own magazines. They also had a desire and interest in gospel. They wanted to be business owners. And what I remember most about that is your openness and your willingness to mentor and to train others. And these were younger people. They were men and women. And a lot of times when you're being mentored and when you're being trained, even though you have this desire to do business and do this, you've got to start and get your hands wet and dirty. You've got to start in different places so that you can learn how to build. And so I remember you just bringing on young people and adults who wanted to get into business and who wanted to get into the industry. And you would impart into them, you would deposit into them. And I believe that a lot of the things that you taught them and a lot of the things that you model, I think that's why they are able to be as effective as they are now. And so I appreciate leaders like you who will mentor others and say, listen, this is how you do it. This is what I learned. Let me show this to you. You've got to be on time. You've got to be dressed a certain way. You've got to learn how to write. Just different basic things, but it was helping. It was helping. And so I appreciate you for the mentorship that you've done. And even when you moved on to other things, you've continued to mentor and help people through the books that you write, through the classes, the boot camps that you would do, all of that. The things that you would do to mentor people, I think is exceptional.
Well, thank you. Now, I want you to introduce yourself and say your name and where you're from and what, kind of what you do.
Okay. Well, my name is Juandolyn Stokes to some people, and then I'm Pastor Stokes to other people, and then I'm Juandolyn, Gwendolyn, Shaquita, and everybody else. But so it doesn't matter what you call me. But I am Pastor Juandolyn Stokes. I pastor a church that's everywhere now in the virtual community, but we're based in Conyers, Georgia, in the metropolitan Atlanta, Georgia. And so I serve there as the senior leader. And then I'm also a radio host on WAOK. I do news and talk radio 5 days a week from 10 to 1. And I'm just excited to be a part.
You know what? I have to stop and go back. Well, not go back, but go forward, because it was Juandolyn Stokes that came to the first Gospel Heritage Praise and Worship Conference at Hopewell Baptist Church and became the voice of Gospel Heritage for so many years, and people absolutely look forward. Well, where is Pastor Stokes? And what was that whole, I mean, because you saw it from the inception, you knew the vision, you served on the board, you have been all front and center with it all the time, all the years. What was that? And I know that, it was an offshoot of Gospel Today, but it was its own thing. It became its own world.
Yeah. I just never knew. I was just there to help. To serve, fill in the gaps. I knew I was flexible enough. If you needed somebody to host, if you needed somebody to teach, if you needed somebody to go troubleshoot, I was just there to just kind of do that. And it just kind of over the years, it was like, listen, girl, going out there and host that recording or hold it down and transition us. I was okay, cool. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never knew I would end up being the voice. I never knew. All I knew is that I was just following the Lord, exhorting the people in praise and worship. And praise and worship was at the foundation of the Gospel Heritage Foundation and in the Gospel Today. And it was about it being a lifestyle. And I knew that I brought a lifestyle to it and that it meant so much to me of how to praise God and how to just engage in that worship. And so then going on the stage or the pulpit or the platform and just announcing artists, I was just excited about doing it. I felt I was just a messenger for the Lord, but I never knew it would evolve into that. And I'm just so grateful because that contributed a lot to how things kind of changed for me. People just started, hey, you're that voice for Gospel Today, that voice in Atlanta. So I was like, oh, wow, really, God? I mean, hey, it's amazing how You think things are going to go one way and then it goes a totally different way. And so God is like, yeah, I'm going to make your voice known. I'm going to make your voice be heard, and people will always remember it. And so I'm just grateful how God used you to use me as a vessel for him.
Awesome. Ooh. All right, girl, you about to make me cry. Wake up. Oh my goodness, that was so good. That was so good.
Wow,
So do you
you.
want to, so I want you to focus your part of the teaching that we're going to do on prayer. But what I wanted to do was kind of talk about in the pandemic, like for the show, for the Higher Impact show. But I got to get off of this because I don't want to give them all this. So I'm going to give you a new Zoom link. We can come back to that now.
Yes.
Because I don't have another interview for about 15 minutes.
Okay, we can do that now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to get off of this.
Look out for it.
Okay.
Okay.